Anxiety has gripped residents of Borno State following the breakdown of the Alau Dam on Tuesday. This is because of the damage done to the Medium Security Custodial Centre in Maiduguri. Authorities of the centre noted that there was a breach in security barriers and weakened structural support due to the rising water levels. The Nigerian Correctional Service says it is working tirelessly to mitigate the devastating impact of the flooding on its facilities at the custodial centre. In a statement, the Service Public Relations Officer of the agency, Abubakar Umar, assured the public that they are taking necessary measures to ensure public safety, contrary to initial reports. Now, let me start with the BKO. We have reports that the flood is gradually receding. But according to reports, news of prisoners escaping from prisons because of flood, what is the implication of this?
No, it's a very dangerous situation because some of these prisoners or inmates could be very dangerous. Some of them could be condemned prisoners who are just waiting for the hangman. And when they break loose, they can go and take the lives of people who testified against
them
in the course of their trial. It even happened during the NSAS crisis when some prisons were broken into and some of the inmates escaped. Somewhere in Delta State, one of the guys who had been sentenced to death went straight to the home of the key witness in this matter and took the life of the fellow.
Oh dear.
So it's very dangerous for prisons to be breached because some of the people on the run could be very dangerous. You saw what happened in Kuje prisons when Boko Haram fighters went there to free, principally to free their own their colleagues who are in detention. These are very hardened, very dangerous inmates. I'm sure that some of those guys released will be among those helping them to produce IEDs now, will be among their commanders now, who will have gone straight back to work. So it's really dangerous. But where the prison walls collapse as a result of flooding, you do not expect that all the inmates will simply remain within the walls of the prison.
They want to run for their lives.
Yes, they need to. Some of them would want to escape to higher ground. You know, you can imagine when the vice president's house was also overrun by
the flood
waters. And when they went to see the Shehu of Borno, the water was above his waist. So there's no one who will see water rising above his waist. Not all of us are good swimmers.
True.
You see water rising above his waist, he does not know whether
it's still going to rise more.
Yes, whether the tide will kind of become even more violent to the point that it will now totally envelope him. So it's understandable when some of them escape. But there were those who chose to just look for a higher ground and waited to be evacuated to the new prison in the community, I mean in the city. So it's not everyone that takes the opportunity to escape.
Well, BK, looking at the prisons, getting them back, do we have the data to say, okay, these are the people there?
We do not. And when when something similar happened after torrential rains in Suleja, a good number of those inmates escaped, and we didn't even have pictures
No, oh dear.
We didn't have pictures because we do not. We are supposed. The moment there's a prison break, TV stations, newspapers should be inundated with pictures of these guys so that we know them. Unfortunately, too, our prisons are located too close to urban centers. I mean, prisons are not supposed to be too close to where the rest of us live. That's not the way it should be. Look at Ikoyi prison, for example. It's too close to where people live, and that's why I'm happy that the minister has decided now that some of those prisons will be relocated. They will build new prisons, modern prisons, and then relocate these people to areas far away from where the rest of us are living. Yes, they are human beings.
I hope development will not go and meet it there as well.
It depends. It depends on where.
That's another thing.
At least, but you see, it's still dangerous. It's still better than the situation in which just 10 meters from the walls of a prison, you see houses all over the place. Go to the Suleja prison and see what I'm talking about. Go to Ikoyi and see what people are not supposed to live that close to prison. So, because when there is a break, a prison break, a jail break, they will be able to mesh quickly with people living in the area. Because houses are close to them, they will enter their houses. You find it difficult to locate, to apprehend them because they've quickly mixed with our people. But if prisons are relocated far
from town,
the security forces will be able, it will be a lot easier to get hold of
the area.
Yes, you know. So these are the problems that we're facing. But I think also, going back to the dam break, I think that we have treated our soul habitat in such an unfriendly manner. They've been talking about climate change and some of the things that we do that cause these problems. But our people don't listen.
Taking nature for granted.
We are felling trees. We do not know that felling trees indiscriminately ensure that when this flooding happens, we have no form of defense.
Exactly.
We are not supposed to fell those trees the way we are doing. We are eating up the ozone layer. In maybe a few more decades, people will see the full effect of what we are talking about. We've got to take ecological issues more seriously. There is no way that I would believe, for example, that there was no warning sign. Because I went back to some of NIMET's alerts. And I saw clearly that we had an opportunity to deal with this problem. You know, the storms were very unfriendly. And at the end of the day, the dam broke. We are even lucky. If it was a bigger dam,
this is not what we're going to be talking about.
Hundreds of people will have been dead by now. It's a small dam, because I've seen it. I've seen that dam before.
You
know, it's a small dam. We are very lucky. If it was a much bigger dam, oh my God, this is not what we're talking about. But the people still need to be supported because this is a big calamity. Cemetery, the Gwange Cemetery, for example, has now been overrun and corpses are floating on the water.
Zoos, animals.
Yes, because
snakes.
the wall, some of the animals have drowned. Crocodiles, even a lion was said to have escaped. There is no, once the wall breaks, it allows people free reign, and naturally that whole area, because it was overrun. I mean, when somebody told me about what happened on Lagos Street, there is a bridge. You expect that that place is higher ground. But they were telling me that even walking on that bridge, the water still reaches your chest
level.
And I look at that bridge, I can't explain how, in spite of that bridge, that water will still get to that level. Because when you are driving through that bridge, you look at the river. It's still far away, deep down. But the whole place was overrun. Corpses are floating on the river. People can't find good water to drink, you know, and the water that they are drinking is already contaminated with corpses.
Oh dear.
You know, floating. So it's a big calamity, and I expect government now, if they need to seek international support, they have to do it so that we can help our people.
So let's talk about the responses now. Well, what do you make of the responses from different quarters? Responses from NEMA, responses from the army, responses from the vice president, and what do you make of it? I saw the video of the army and I was really impressed. What do you make of it?
Well, we like responding to disasters instead of working hard to prevent disasters. This thing happened last in 1994. The Alau Dam burst last in 1994. Now, when we kept having these environmental problems, then President Goodluck Jonathan in 2010, he asked the World Bank for assistance, and the World Bank now drew up a program, you know, a new map program. Now, that program ended in 2021, but it was extended by 2 years, you know, and it was replaced by another program, the Agroclimatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes, ACRESAL, that's the acronym. Now, one of the problems identified by ACRESAL in Borno, you know, which, you know, looks so ironical, is that is shortage of water. Then in another part, you know, issue of threat of flooding, you know, and among other issues, you know, arid landscape and all that. So now you expect that over the 10, 12 years that new map lasted, that, you know, experts would have been trained, climatologists, geologists, and the rest of them would have been trained to be able to, you know, provide proactive measures, you know, against any disaster. Since NIMET, you know, does its work, you know, regularly. So it will be expected that, okay, such experts, there will be a pool, a large pool of experts, you know, but I don't know, it's possible maybe the pool was assembled and maybe some of them have left the country. So yes, response commendable, but more commendable should be the fact that we can prevent these things.
We can prevent this.
Since there were warning signs, people should have been moved away, because Borno State has been acquainted with, you know, resettlement of people because of the Boko Haram. So I expect that, you know, this governor had said it some time ago that he would love to, you know, close down some of those IDP camps. So I expect that there should have been a kind of, you know, a flexible system whereby ahead of this problem you could relocate people, you know, you could relocate people and make sure that the contact, human contact with this flood, you know, is mitigated. Even if it lasts 2 days or 3 days. You saw what happened in New Orleans some years ago. But it's no longer, I mean, to a large extent, it's no longer possible.
All right.
So let's do something proactively.
Okay, because of our time, BK, in just 30 seconds, is it possible to avert this kind of occurrence from happening again? In just 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's possible. You know, all forms, the people lose. Farmers lose their farmlands, their rice fields, but the rate of loss will never be anything near what we are seeing now.
What we are seeing now.
Look at the Grow Dam in Cameroon, that they always release the water.
They also
release it gradually. Every year. You know, is the thing. Now, what, or even the Onyon Dam here,
is October.
Always release it, you know, because if the dam breaks, the loss will be much more colossal, you know, than when they simply release the water. Yes, every year people lose farmlands. And in Nigeria, River Benue, people living along the banks of River Benue, they suffer a lot, you know. Adamawa, people in Adamawa, people in Taraba, people in Benue. Because once it's released, it goes into the river, and the river overflows its banks and spills onto people's homes and all that. But it's still better than to allow the dam to break. The dam to break, the loss of lives, because it will simply wash away everything on its path. The loss of lives will be colossal. So I still prefer that they do this
gradual release.
Yes, incremental release of the water to ensure that. I was driving through Ashejire and I saw the level that the water had reached, I think sometime last year, at the peak of the rainy season, and I was really scared. Because I saw that dam, I said, what if this thing, if they don't find a way to just release this water, gradually, we'll be in trouble. So I hope that it doesn't happen again. I just hope that it doesn't happen again. People and the big people, a lot of the big people, their houses have been overrun. Vice President AVM Alamin Dagash, who was a high-ranking person during Abacha's time, they've all had their houses overrun by waters. So,
all right.